Convergence.Tech has partnered with the federal government to deliver a blockchain pilot to overhaul the 100-year-old tax system and hopefully recover some of the money lost in tax revenue each year. To tell us more, we're joined by General Manager Doug Campbell. Doug, thank you for joining us. Look, let's start at the basics. What is this pilot program?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having us on. We've been working with the federal government since September last year as part of the National Blockchain Roadmap. The Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources released the paper to really provide a momentum behind the adoption of blockchain across the Australian economy, and they funded two pilots, one of which we're running now with the Australian Taxation Office, DISA, and the spirits industry, to really demonstrate the benefits of blockchain to cut red tape, increase productivity, and as you mentioned in the lead up, find that revenue that's lost to illicit distributors and importers and so on.
Part that blockchain plays in all this. Why blockchain, basically?
Well, yeah, a very good question. Typically, blockchain is used where there's a lack of trust between parties. So in this situation, we've got an ecosystem around the control, compliance, and collection of excise. So you have a regulator and a whole variety of industry players who incur excise at different times depending on how they're moving precious goods. So the blockchain is obviously an immutable ledger to record information between these parties, and there's significant efficiencies in being able to digitize the commodity, in this case pure litres of alcohol, which is the excisable good, and make that available to the regulator in real time for them to have more visibility and transparency as to how that precious good that generates tax revenue moves through the supply chain and the industry's operations.
And you actually have probably one of the first use cases of ANZ's own stablecoin, which has been used in the pilot. Tell us about working with the stablecoin, particularly in sort of your own pilot, and I guess for ANZ it was quite a test pilot as well.
Absolutely, yes. It's been great to work with such a large and renowned institution, a highly respected brand in finance, and the news recently that they launched the stablecoin to great acclaim as a first use of Australian dollar stablecoin in the world, obviously, and they did a significant transaction a couple of weeks ago with Smorgon. So in parallel, we were working with the same team who integrated with our blockchain for the excise pilot. So what we're able to do is actually link the fiat currency, in this case, obviously the ANZ Australian dollar stablecoin, to the commodity stablecoin that we're tracking on our platform on the blockchain. So what that means is basically when a bottle of alcohol moves across a particular jurisdictional line or business rule where excise is incurred, we can actually automate the calculation of the excise that's due, and through integration with the stablecoin, enable payment in a lights out automated fashion between the industry and the regulator. So it's really about bringing a secure and safe way of liquidity into the blockchain around the litres of alcohol, which is, again, that excisable commodity.
Alcohol as the start of this pilot, you've teamed up with a bunch of people, the Australian Distillers Association, Spirits and Cocktails. Can this be applied to other commodities? Because I can imagine wasted tax revenue is certainly not industry agnostic.
That's right. No, and we've been partnering with KPMG to help us understand the economic benefits of applying this at scale. And just in the alcohol spirits industry within Australia, it's KPMG estimate that it's at least a $45 million saving when this scales to production level. But you're right, it absolutely, we've created the system to be extensible to other commodities. So working with the Taxation Office, they see complete applicability to beer, also fuel. So the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet's Deregulation Task Force were looking at food and beverage manufacturing, and hence why spirits was selected for this pilot. But they have an eye on fuel, which represents $36 billion of Australian tax revenue every year. So when you think of food and beverages or just alcohol, it represents $6 billion a year in taxable revenue. And the ATO estimate around 600 million or just shy of that is lost to illicit processes, and the blockchain can find a considerable amount of that foregone. So absolutely, any excisable commodity, it can be tracked through this platform, and we're in discussions with other international jurisdictions, including the UK and Canada right now, about adopting this capability. So it's very exciting.